Disney is in a very, very interesting spot right now. And by interesting spot, I mean they are not in a good one. We have covered this year of struggle that they've had. They've been struggling really since with these streaming services since the launch of Disney Plus. Lost last quarter, which was double of what they lost before in the previous time, previous year. During this time of 1.5, that's in a quarter, almost $1.5 billion, not million, billion. Okay, and that's just what it is. And they have taken some interesting directions with how they are going to try to combat some of the backlash that they've got. We know what happened with that bill that was out of Florida. They handled that in the worst way possible, doubling down on that and really siding with the demographic of people that do not even make up a significant amount of your customers. Okay. So you give reason, definitely families, which is really what Disney has been historically centered around, just regular families. You give them reason to say, well, okay, what is going on with this company? And then maybe even second guess, which wasn't the case back in the gap, to where now, which is all it takes, second guess even giving you money for any reason for that matter. And that was the direction that they thought to go. We covered all this on this channel, and it cost them money. They've had some flops. They've had, and even with the successes, let me say this. So they have had movies that have made money that they've come out with this year. But when you consider how much money that they're putting into them, it's not like they're just making all of their money back that they're losing on the movies or streaming platforms. That's not really the case. Disney, though, is a mega corporation that's international. So what it does have, which is what a lot of other companies don't, is a way to subsidize their bad behavior. So when one wing of the company does terrible, they still can be saved and salvaged by another wing that people just can't turn off their addiction for. And that is, in this case, the parks. That seems to make up a significant amount of their money. But, it can only do so much. Okay, so they're being subsidized by their parks. People are still going to those, even though they're getting some competition with Universal in that, like out there in Florida. But in the same respects, you can only do so much. Disney stock on track for the worst since 1974. So even if it doesn't hit that number, it's still bad. Let's just say that. Disney stock has plummeted almost 45%. I'm reading this from Forbes, by the way. These are the key takeaways. So far this year, which is looking set to be the worst performance since 1974. The latest fall has come after the opening weekend of Avatar: The Way of the Water, which fell short of huge opening weekend expectations. Now, I'm not saying that this movie isn't going to make any money, but considering how much they put into it, there was a lot of predictions, and the predictions seem to be off. Now, that doesn't mean that, depending on how long this, I guess, is going to be in theaters, as well as word of mouth, all that sort of stuff, it could turn out to be fairly decent. But as of right now, with the opening, it hadn't done as well as what people were anticipating. Disney is under pressure from many fronts with its streaming service, Disney Plus, gaining massive subscriber numbers, but losing money hand over fist. And of course, they talk about CEO, which was fired in Disney's Bob Chapek, former CEO, that is, and Bob Iger is now taking the place. So it's plummeted down almost 45%. And according to FactSet, again, worst performance since 1974. And that's significant. Like, I get it. We're in a recession. They can try to deny it, but that's been what it is. And I'm not going to sit up here and use this video to go in on the people that caused that, as right now they're voting on another $1 trillion bill in Congress right now, which is going to only aid in those monetary issues that because they don't got that money. But these are the people some of you vote for. And that's, look, let me just say, this is for another video. Nonetheless, the economic situation is the economic situation. And yes, that's a thing. But there's something unique that's happening with Disney in that their failure is far more prominent, or let's say decline is far more prominent comparatively to other businesses, definitely their competitors in various markets. So they're struggling. That's what you take away from this, is that they are struggling. They are having some issues that have compounded. They have done themselves in bad releases, bad economic practice within their companies, bad decisions being made, and it's equaled this and where it is that we're at. Now, again, they do have the parks that are going to subsidize a lot of this, but they have to scale down. We're starting to see this with other companies. That's just what's going to have to happen. You guys banked on an audience that doesn't exist, and you can't be carried by them, and you can have economic failure and down, let's say, more of a decline. You can have that, but that can only be momentarily. That can only be fixed in terms of its time frame. But once that is extended and you're having that happen over a period of time, folks, be it stockholders, whoever, shareholders, they're looking at it like, wait a minute, man, what the hell are y'all doing? And people are coming to collect. So you have to change course. There's been no rejection of what Chapek said right before he was fired. And that is, folk about to start losing some jobs. We got to scale back. We're losing too much money. Got to stop spending as much money. Why are you spending almost, was it 180 million, I think they spent on Stranger World. That's not the $200 million movie. It's not. Not in the general interest of people that will go watch that. Not even for what you paid to get it done. That's just not, it wasn't worth it, but you do stuff like that. You get away with that for a short period of time. But as you lose this quarter, that quarter, and it's like multiple years, we're at multiple years now. If you just holding L's, at that point you're like, all right, bro, something ain't right. Maybe that person that we hired with blue hair that was out of college that was trying to gauge the market in terms of what direction it was going, maybe they weren't the best person either for that job, or they were feeding us bad information. They're in trouble. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.